So one of the things that's really interesting about the world we're in now is artificial intelligence. I would be really curious to know what role does that play in the recruitment process. That's coming up next on the DORE Podcast. So welcome back to the DORE Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Dore. Today I'm joined with Kerry Lundy and Taylor. I guess you're new, and we're exposing you to the podcasting first time.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
You're brave. I love it.
Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
So Kerry, you're the founder of PlacePad Inc.
Yeah, I am.
And PlacePad is a recruitment agency that helps businesses find the right talent by blending people, technology, and data-driven solutions.
Yeah.
My understanding also is that your focus is really towards construction.
Yeah, the construction development, resident or real estate industry specifically.
Okay.
We definitely do recruit for all encompassing roles within those industries though. So we do accounting and finance roles within construction development companies.
So it'll be good.
Yeah.
That'll be good. So we're gonna dive into all that. I'm gonna pick your brain.
Okay.
So obviously, I mean, we were just chatting just before this podcast how we're navigating AI and the personal touch.
Yes.
Right. That we're trying to figure out how to balance both of those. So Kerry and Taylor, it's great to have you on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm super excited to be here.
Sounds good. So let's get started.
Yeah.
So Kerry, it was interesting just before the podcast. Yeah. I said one of the first things we'd like to know is how you got involved, in recruitment and creating PlacePad. And
yeah, it's like a long-winded story, but I'll make it brief. So I worked in HVAC system sales for a long time. And then I got headhunted, ironically, to be a business development manager for a smaller boutique construction recruitment firm.
A recruitment firm.
Recruitment firm, yeah. So I left my sales job and jumped into that. I was there for 5 years. I ended up being the director for that company for client services. And yeah, it was just a small little boutique firm. So we did construction on one side and professional services on the other side. So I worked for an international firm. I ran their M&E division. Amazing. And then I felt like there was a small part of me that was disconnected with the smaller entity. So I wanted to kind of break the mold and make a little bit of a shift in terms of how I operated within the recruitment industry.
Because I think one of the things that it's very noticeable when we meet you is the fact that you're a personable person.
Yeah, thank you.
Obviously. And you made that clear. Yes. And it's, obviously, and I think my understanding is that you kind of like that part. So,
I was missing that very candidate, engaged part of the process.
Like the one-on-one calling.
The one-on-one, the calling. Like it's definitely like a part of the industry itself, no matter what. I was missing the more intimate experience, basically. So even the way that I operate PlacePad, it's very much a full experience with candidates and with clients, and they're one and the same. So I really want to actually get to know my clients. I want to know like the environment that I'm placing candidates in. I want to know what my candidates do on their own personal time as well. So it's a full experience instead of, just more like a transactional experience for sure. That was what was missing for me. It was a huge part in the decision of just branching out on my own, basically, because I wanted it to be true to who I am as a person. Yeah. Essentially. That makes sense.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, obviously, full disclosure, we've worked together.
Yes.
Obviously for placement, and that what you're describing there is exactly the experience that we had. Good. We were really trying with you and Maria, we're trying to really get an understanding of what I was looking for.
Yeah, for sure.
And we saw it on the person you brought to the team, how they felt that I thought you guys were friends. Like, I mean, it was just so funny. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Like there was so that experience, what you're talking about there, I think that shone through, based on my experience with you as well, where there was really an attention to really trying to make sure you get the right people in the right, positions, right, the right roles, and then where you're going to go. So I think that means a lot.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, it really does. Like I want to know, I want to know that the environment that I'm going to place somebody in that I've spent a lot of time with, who I understand what they need in terms of personality fit, like their personal life fit, like what that's going to land.
So what does that
like
mean? So just if you don't mind elaborating on that, when you say so somebody's looking for a job, they're looking for a role, or I'm a company looking for somebody specific.
For sure.
So when you say what they do in their personal time, like what does that look like? What does that mean exactly?
So typically there are processes, and I will promise with, I don't work with like hundreds of candidates. I'm very specific about who I'm working with. We kind of have a pool of, let's say, 10 people that we're working with on a candidate side of things, that we spend a lot of time engaging with, to interview with, to meet them, all those things, just to understand what they need in their next position, what they need in terms of their vacation times or like their personal times, even the hours and how that impacts their life.
Gotcha. Okay.
We want to know those things. And then on the other side of things, obviously, like we want to know what our clients' engagement is too in the office, and what those personality types are like in their office as well, so that we're placing somebody in the right environment for them that they're going to thrive in, right? A lot of the people that we place obviously are in the middle or like later in their career. So they've been exposed to things that they know that they don't want to have in their life.
Right.
And I think that's
unlike
very, Taylor's brand new. All to come.
Sorry.
But I think it's important to know those things about, the people that you're engaging with on a daily basis, because, like the last thing that I want to do also is place a candidate somewhere that they are not going to thrive, or they're not going to be able to grow, or they're not going to have impact, or, it just obviously, like, it aligns with what their personal core values are as well too. But I want to make sure that it all lands properly. And I think it makes it less transactional when you actually know those things about people. And it's the same thing with the client side as well. It's like, what's important and what do you value in yourself and you as a business, and like the people that you're placing in your business. Yeah. It kind of goes full circle, if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously I think that's probably one of the reasons why you're successful, and the fact that what you're describing there is exactly the experience that we've had. Good. Where there was really, it wasn't a rush decision. There wasn't like, here's like 10 candidates and just choose one. And there was none of that. It was really, I'm looking for this type of role, this. I may have the perfect person. Hang on, interaction, and then next thing you know, I have about camping, and I have a almost 2 hour, an hour and a half interview with which I was happy to do. Yeah, trying to make sure we got the right people. So it's we sense that as a company. So good for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I really, it's how I want to live my life and operate myself. Yeah.
It's the reason why I decided to work for Kerry. Yeah. Like,
how did you get involved? I'm curious.
I was using Kerry's like recruiting services actually to look for a kind of an admin position for myself, because I just graduated from university, and nowadays like university experience is no experience. So I was like, whatever you can give me. And then we met, and I just listening to how Kerry spoke about her own business as another, like as a young woman, just watching her being a successful woman in this industry, and just speaking about how like she had been successful, but is willing to kind of step away from the success that she had to build something that was more suited to her and like well-versed and really represented her as a person, which like to me as a young person, I think that that's really like credible and like very valuable as a business owner, to see somebody who's willing to kind of put their own like expectations aside to like really change what they want to make a change in the industry, because she saw enough of it through her other place or other like jobs that I feel like now walking into this, like even though I'm not from a sales side or I'm not from a recruiting place, like just having like a human conversation with Kerry and just hearing how she prioritized like the people in her business rather than the money. And like to her, like, of course, everyone, like you want to be successful, but to her, her success is based off of her relationships with her clients and her candidates, not based off of like the deals that we get.
Yeah.
It's based off of those ongoing, lasting conversations that continue.
Mm-hmm.
Like working with her, I've only been with her for this is my 3rd week, and like I've been in her office, like because like I've been sharing an office with her for 2 weeks, and just listening to the way that she speaks to her, not only just her clients but her candidates, and checks on them, and like she's like, oh, today I have to check in with this person, and it's not a hi, yeah, just checking in on that interview. It's like, hey, how's it going? Oh, yeah, that was probably awkward. Like, it's a full normal conversation between humans.
Yeah.
And you really feel like humans rather than like another digit in like the big scheme of things.
Yeah.
Where I feel like a lot of recruiters make you feel like you're just like another person in the pool, where Kerry really makes you feel like you're her candidate, who she's going to find you somewhere that works for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's so nice.
No, that's nice. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
No, I mean, obviously the approach is very unique and it's well received, I believe. Like, I mean, we've heard it on both sides, and now obviously a testament to somebody who's working side by side with you. Yeah. It's kind of neat.
And I think, you know, the people who want to work with you, they'll end up working with you.
Right.
The people that you're supposed to work with, you'll work with. And, that's on like both sides, clients and candidates, 100%. I feel like, you know, I don't have the typical recruitment approach for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always just tell my clients, like, I'm going fresh into this. I don't have people waiting, you know, because I want it to be a fresh start. I want, you know, whatever role my client gives me to be a fresh start for me to go reach out and find talent. I mean, obviously, like through networking and my network and just people that I've known for a long time, there are people that are readily available.
Yep.
Just my process usually is a little bit longer than normal, just because I just really want to cultivate like the right mindset on both sides and just make sure that it lands properly and it's the right fit for both people. Yep. So it's super important for me.
That's awesome. It comes from a place of service more so than trying to help out.
Yeah,
genuinely cares.
Yeah,
which I think is a difference.
And
people don't care personally.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's stuff to put on the website.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's great, right? So that's why when we heard that we could do a podcast with you, we're like, it'd be great based on the experience. I think it would be great. And if we can highlight that to somebody listening in, they end up working with you, then, you know, that'd be great.
The interpersonal relationships of,
Yeah, and I think too, like I'm like radically transparent, like on all fronts with candidates and clients as well. I'm not that experience. It makes the experience different with me, I think, a little bit too.
You're willing to call a client up and say, "Hey, I had a candidate. Tell me this, this, and this." After they interviewed, like what happened on your side, you know, and to hear both sides and to really get constructive criticism from both ends, rather than just hearing it from like. I feel like your candidates would get really discouraged if you're just constantly taking what your client's saying and being like, yeah, well, they said it, you know, like it's important to do your own investigation, especially when you pride yourself on the candidates that you're putting forward. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's because we know the clients too. So she has like pride in those people and knowing that they're going to be respectable and like creditable.
That's great.
That makes sense.
And typically, like, how do these relationships start? Is it more like a business that reaches out to you, or is it more like somebody reaching out to you and say, "Hey, I'm looking for," or like, what's a typical? What typically initiates a relationship with your firm?
I think I'm really lucky in the part of my career where I have a lot of repeat business just from years being in this. I even work with people that I dealt with in my sales career too. So I'm really lucky in that sense. I mean, we definitely do obviously have business development side of Maria, like, and you engaged. But it's always just nice, light and airy. Like, and again, we're looking into the companies just as much as like you would look into me, just so that, you know, we're representing people at like the true value of who they are. So there is definitely a business development side of our business for sure. But again, I'm like really fortunate to have repeat business. I do have clients like word of mouth, obviously, that reach out just due to, you know, me placing somebody at a friend's company of theirs and whatnot. Right. So I've been really fortunate.
So it can be, it gets initiated from both sides.
Yeah, from both sides, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it was funny because the way that we got introduced is from me posting a LinkedIn ad for an executive assistant. And it was funny because I've been planning on doing this for a while and didn't want to go through the Indeed route and do all that. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. And it was, having discussions with several people in business. And I'm like, how do I do this where I'm not wasting anybody's time, mine included? And it was funny because the suggestion was, so well, whatever you do, when you put an ad out, make sure that whoever, because what I was looking for was kind of unique. And you guys pointed that out. You're like, that's quite, you're looking for a needle in a haystack, but that was funny. But it was a matter of saying whatever the message was, somebody who was attracted to that role would say, oh yes. And somebody who's like, no, would be completely turned off by it. So they had a spin of it that kind of said, well, if this is not for you, then just don't apply type of deal. Is semi-aggressive.
Yeah.
On purpose.
Yeah.
And funny enough, that's how Mariah reached out to me based on that and that trickled in. But it's an interesting, so that's why I was curious if it was more, companies reaching out to you and say, Kerry, we're looking for these, these types of roles, or it was the other way around. But as you alluded to, it kind of seems to come from both ends.
It's truly both, and I think I really love a good challenge. I really love to feel something difficult.
Yeah.
So your posting probably caught Maria's eye for sure.
It was funny.
Or like sometimes we read job postings and we're like, oh, we have somebody in mind for that for sure.
Right.
And I think that it was either one of those two situations.
Yeah.
But obviously we definitely had someone in mind for sure. And then I obviously got to meet you and sit down with you and more of on a consultative approach, basically about what you needed. Yeah. And, we came to a conclusion about what it might not need to look like, right?
No, exactly.
Yeah. Sometimes
that discussion was very, it was very good because after walking out of there, I was like, okay, hang on a second. Maybe I need to be a bit clearer in my mind as to what message I'm giving out, right? Because it seemed to not be clear for you. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm going in these 10 different directions. And for you, like, how am I going to find something that fits this mold? Sure. And clearly that was it's a tough gig, but the experience afterwards, I'm like, oh, hang on a second. I'm looking for another role. And I let you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we connected on that one. So it was just interesting how, even though, that didn't go exactly as planned, but I saw that the approach that Mariah and Kerry brought to the table, I was like, okay, hang on a second. There's something there. Perhaps there's another role, and we'll always be looking for people as we grow. So it was a great approach. So
and we loved working with you. It was super fun, and the whole process is really easy, and we were very clear in our communication, I think, and that makes a big difference too. And I was transparent with you, but saying like, hey, Dan, I probably can't fill that one. So I think.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
In business, the last thing you want to do is being, it's just, strung along. She's like, this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
She told me dealing with candidates and clients, I need to be honest with them. And sometimes you just got to say, I can't fill that right now. It's rather than dragging them along, making them think that, you can't just schmooze your way through something and be like, you know what, I got you. Because then that company, you're not going to really, it's not going to support you in the long run.
No.
And your company and what you're trying to do.
No, and I could sense that. So that's kudos to you guys
thank you so much
for operating that.
Yeah, it goes on the candidate side of things too. If I really truly feel that someone would be more successful applying on their own, I would just go apply on your own.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm part of the job search on both ends of things too, unless obviously I'm working exclusively with a client, they've trusted me in their hands. I'm part of something of each person and not the whole shebang. So I feel like that's important to get across as well too. What needs to happen is someone needs to successfully be placed in that position, or I need to find somebody a position and be part of that, right? Yeah. So it's the end goal is getting somebody a job or the client filling their role.
Right.
So it's not always about me. And so
candidates,
super important to me.
Yeah, candidates that I found that for a certain role that because I'm pretty new, I've been this project manager, and it's that project manager is more of a civil person. So it's we might not be ready to fill them for this position, but it's now finding that person a job that fits them because we've taken them on as a candidate and see their value. Right. We're okay, well, we're going to find you something because you're worth it, rather than just oh, well, you're not applicable, so good luck. We reached out to you. Okay, now we're going to put the effort in to at least try to find you something that's in your field.
That's awesome. And it's funny because I mean, we run a property management company. I sell real estate.
Yeah.
So the mindset for us is very, very similar. Whereas, if we're trying to find a tenant to fill a unit, for us, we're really trying to make sure we're finding the right fit, the right tenant for the right property. And Rose, that runs the leasing team, at one point she says it's kind of like running a matchmaking system where you're trying to match the right people with the right properties. And I'm like, that's
personalities with certain personalities.
No, but in real estate, because the matter is you want to make sure somebody has certain needs, whether it's parking, kids, access to the transit, whichever. You're trying to find the right property. It's not about just renting the unit. You're trying to make sure everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And when it's for real estate, it's the same thing. Like for us, when I'm involved with clients with real estate, sometimes, and I deal with this all the time. I'm dealing with one now where, we see a property and like my opinion is I think we should just continue because of X, Y, Z. Because I want the same thing you want, where if you're providing that service, and then people will sense that. I mean, it's not just about collecting money. The reality is we're all in the relationship business, and if we don't respect that, it'll be short-lived, and people see through that, right? So I think so that's why for me, that's the experience. I know we're dragging on, but
that's okay.
But it was that was the experience I had with you guys. So good stuff.
Thank you.
Now onto the role of technology. So AI, obviously, we're having a fun little chat before this and Kerry and I were just discussing how we kind of knew business prior to AI, and now we're trying to get a better sense of how that works. And you come in
as
fresh off, and they're like, wow, you want to use these tools. So every business can use some type of artificial intelligence to 100%. Enhance their processes, some more than others. And obviously in the realm of recruitment, I was fascinated to hear how that's being used at the moment. Because I was like, how do they use AI for that? And Taylor, we're opening up to you.
Taylor.
Tell us how this is working.
Well, for us, especially at PlacePad, I feel like it works on both the client and the candidate side of things. Like client-wise, we can access information on the company. We can do a lot more background search, even just a simple like putting the client's name into job search and looking up their history. It's amazing what's
when you say client, you mean like the
company, or even the company owner, like even that kind of thing. Sometimes it's important just to know who you're working with as well. And I think that in this digital world, it's easy to hide things, and it's easy to also have a lot of things accessible. So when it comes to like screening for candidates, for instance, like AI really helps us kind of streamline the process, because rather than having to create Boolean search operators, which are like a line of certain text that you're utilizing the words like and, or not, where you're able to say like, I need a project manager that's not in civil engineering because you want someone that's focused on commercial, and so rather than now pulling up a feed of 500 resumes of project managers that aren't applicable to what you're doing, there's so many little tools now that you can implement, like adding, like there's filters, things like that you can just add those filters in one by one, and you're suddenly down to 13 profiles that are bang on for what exactly you're looking for, especially too when it comes to like, it really helps like look for career patterns too. So these types of platforms will actually pull up candidates that they think will be more likely to be like hired or be open to the job because of the way that their resume looks. They're like, okay, so they every 2 years, it seems like they've had a jump in a career. So like they'll put them forward at 2 years because they know based off of their resume that's kind of like, which is interesting because it could be positive or it could be negative for a person. Because if somebody's on contracts and their whole resume is just contract based, it's going to make it look like they're a very jumpy person. But at the same time, in sourcing, like I feel like it's helped me personally because it's helped me be less like there's more diverse searches for sure, because you're not limiting, like you're able to reduce the bias by making sure like the wording's proper. It gives you a lot of different prompts to switch different things while you're searching through these operators so that you're actually utilizing more inclusive wording and things like that so that you're pulling up candidates from every single breath, And especially I find just in my past couple weeks of doing this, like there's a large excess of people outside of Canada on these platforms, which is amazing. But it's not what you're looking for when you're looking to fill a job in Canada.
Yeah.
And so even just having those little tools of making sure that your location's turned on properly,
Right.
writing, like putting in like
Hyphens.
hyphens or communications major. Yeah.
And I'm thinking in French.
Yeah.
Pas stuff.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. But
I'm like, I can't help you. We're talking in English.
yeah, like if you put like a specific word in, like that, it's going to give you that exact word on a resume. So rather than it pulling up 50 people and 60% of them being out of country,
Yeah.
that gives you more applicable things. Like I could say 5 years of Canadian experience, and it'll pull resumes that have 5 years of Canadian experience on them and not show me anyone else. So it's nice in that sense that you're able to really reduce the amount of work that you're putting in. Like I'm able to sit there, and the kind of companies that we source for, I can say, this is the company that I'm sourcing for. Give me a list of companies in the area that are similar that I can look into.
Sure.
And can give me a broad, like, look at a different kind of, like, for instance, when we're looking at a different location, like a geolocation, and just to be able to have that insight into those companies there and to see, like, I'm not familiar with, like, we're doing Edmonton and Calgary right now, like, as well versed as I am in like our candidates and like our clients, like there's such a broad construction world out there that if you fill that into like AI and you're just like, hey, can you give me a breakdown of this? It will really break it down for you. And it really helped me understand kind of both sides of it, like the GC side of things and the construction side of things, but just how it really can give you a lot more insight that you would typically have to actually be in person to know or know somebody there to gain that insight.
And efficiently.
Yeah.
But in order for it to get that data, it has to exist somewhere.
Exactly. So it's pulling it.
So people, it's because the data is online somewhere.
Yeah. So a lot of the time, like for instance, this morning I was looking up companies in Halifax because we're looking for a project manager out that way. And looking up those, I was like, I need smaller companies. Like I kept saying smaller. And it's because I wanted to find like people that were focused on renovations in residential, because when you first say, give me renovation companies in Halifax, it feeds you all of the main ones from Google or any of the ones that are on like online that have a big presence. They're going to fill that first because it's where it's pulling it from the internet. But then there's some that ended up coming up that were like, they didn't have the website. They were like on like the Better Business Bureau. Like the only way that you could read about it was on the Better Business Bureau or like a Facebook post. But ChatGPT can pull that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting in that sense because like you could definitely get insight to a lot more people. And especially I feel like a lot of people that aren't well versed in technology, it enables us to still access them, because even if they're not turning on certain filters or they're not putting certain wording in their resumes or something, like we have those tools now to implement it to make sure that those people are still included in our searches.
Interesting. And ChatGPT it's so interesting how how it's used today, like even for businesses when you're trying to, one of the things we've realized, I didn't even realize this, but a lot of people looking for a business like ours or yours, a lot of people use ChatGPT as the source to search now. I'm like,
absolutely.
It's Google.
Okay. Yeah, it's like the new Google.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. So we're playing around with a couple of companies last week, and then the companies that my company wouldn't come up.
Yeah.
But then you can ask it like why. It's why you're not choosing me. And then it tells you exactly why.
We should do that.
It's so like that is reverse engineer. So we were doing it live, and it's fascinating because the thing about AI, the little bit that I know, it's getting information because it's there. It's not inventing anything.
It can't create its own thought.
It's actually very efficient at going to get the data. So if you're looking for a placement agency and you use that as a tool to search, it's fascinating. Like we did it for property management, we did it for other companies, and we're looking at it and say, And then to drill down, and it tells you, well, you don't have any exposure here, or we're taking it from here, and we're taking it from here, or you had this bad review here. And
I think that
it's quite fascinating.
And I feel like since that tech side of things with like AI and being able to almost use AI as a recruiter, like you could literally text AI and say, I'm in the Ottawa area as a business owner. I need a executive assistant in this, and find me people off LinkedIn. It would pull people, but I think that the difference in what we do in that is like that personal aspect of really making sure that you're not pulling 20 candidates that have superintendent on their resume. Like you're pulling people that they might not even have superintendent on their resume, but they have so many other applicable skills and life experience that we learned through actually talking to them. That like people's life experience, as much as they can write about it, you don't know how somebody is until you actually talk to them.
Exactly.
And like the amount of times I've heard Kerry like have a conversation with someone and she gets up, she's like, oh, they were so lovely. Like they were so nice. Like it just that person.
But you wouldn't know that.
No.
Off of a profile or,
So most people's LinkedIn profile pictures are horrible. Like I'll be honest. Like they're like the scariest pictures ever.
It's a running joke.
Like, is yours better?
Mine says I look like a car salesperson.
Yours is good. I like it.
He's changing it.
And so like just having those
With AI-generated
conversations.
pictures. We were laughing about
Even that.
I'm
Like,
like,
that's petrifying. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think like it's a good additive to our business, obviously, but you're never gonna, like in our industry specifically, like I want to know what makes people tick and what they're passionate about.
But it's a great tool to filter.
For sure.
100%.
But it never takes away what you're doing to try to get the people to know people. Right?
And like I feel like because we utilize a lot of like platforms that are actually AI ran, so like LinkedIn recruiters like considered to be AI like powered, and so like utilizing those a lot of the time is kind of what pushes us ahead of a lot of like we're able to do things quicker, and so we're able to access a lot more candidates, we're able to access like more clients, get more jobs. Like for instance, we can like when we're applying and sending messages out, there's a list of like jobs that we have open on LinkedIn or on Indeed, and it's like I can easily go, okay, add a job, ChatGPT, I need you to give me a job description.
You have to match and
Job description, greeting message, all of these things, salary, like everything. And you can, it's within a second, copy, paste, and your job posting's out.
And I think one of the big thing is as well, I'll speak as a business owner, going through the process of what you do for us takes us away from our business. So that whole process of screening and discussing and going through all these different, resumes.
For sure.
It's time consuming, and we don't have the wherewithal that you have in order to really deep dive into it. And for me, I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. Like this is, I've got other stuff I have to do. So to have you and, take you as a service and you're diving into that specifically is very comforting for somebody who owns a business in order to try to needle down to somebody that really would be a good fit, as opposed to us spending the time to do it when this is not what we do.
Yeah, especially knowing that you don't need to teach yourself that there are people that are willing to put that effort in and actually learn how to do it properly rather than using it just as a means of like making it easier. We're actually using it as a way to prioritize and like better our business, not just making it easier.
And making you more efficient. I mean, obviously, as you're going through the work, if you have a mandate or you have to use those tools to get closer into the prospects like you were using before. You made the assumption that you get 500 candidates as opposed to 13. That in of itself,
it's a huge difference.
So you can't use AI to necessarily go through the last 13. That needs more of a human approach.
AI says those 13 are all the same, but they don't realize that project manager is a project manager at like a real estate firm or like there's a lot of different things that I've noticed where just because AI thinks that it's something because of the wording or like you said, it's pulling this information from different places. So it's seeing like a keyword. It's like perfect project, put that person there, project, put that person there. And it's like, okay, well that person's like in real estate, that person's in like all these different kind of factors that I've been like, oh, well, I thought that they were a project manager. And Kerry's like, they are, but in this side of things, like it gets like
it's not the same, and there's nuances, obviously, right? Like, and I could just imagine. Like, I mean, there's nuances in all our businesses. As you as a recruiter, the nuances from one role to the next can be essentially called the same thing, it's completely different in terms of
Absolutely.
expectation, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Understand that nuance
Yeah.
goes a long way.
AI gives us the ability to use those like synonyms as well,
Mm.
and making sure that you're not just finding like one kind of title. Like I can say like, find me any titles that relate to project management in the construction industry. They'll pull up team lead. They'll pull up like supervisor. They'll pull up like all of these synonyms to that word, that rather than me sitting there and having to type in synonyms
Yeah.
to that, find the synonyms, then put that into my search. It does it all for me by itself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You gotta love the tools, eh?
Yeah, you
The
do.
lazy-
You gotta love the young kids, eh?
It's definitely, it's enhancing my business for sure. Most businesses are definitely being enhanced for sure.
But I still like check in
Yeah.
with Kerry on everything. That's
Yeah.
the thing, is like, no matter what information I'm learning through AI, and as much as it powers our business, like Kerry's brain and where like she's learned
The
from her
experience.
experience is where all that value really comes from, honestly.
Good for you.
It has its place for sure.
Yeah.
And,
It's a
I
tool.
always- yeah. And I tell the team, like, use it sparingly
Mhm.
because, it's different impact when it's driven from us.
Oh, no
For
doubt.
sure.
No doubt.
Different responses, different, like the mentalities around certain like ideas for sure are different than something that you're just getting spit out at you. So I'm not anti-AI by any means, but I think it's an enhancement.
No, it's,
Not
I
the
think it's
priority
great.
for
Yeah.
our business anyways right now.
Especially as someone prioritizing people in
Yeah.
such a numbers business.
No doubt.
For sure. Yeah.
So with that in mind, what do you see as, like, we're in a kind of a wonky business world right now, interest rates, real estate, talking about cuts for business, and then unemployment's high. Like,
Yeah.
what are the biggest challenges that you're seeing in the recruitment industry right now?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting time for sure. I think there's a lot of people that are on the candidate side of things for sure that want to stay put just because they're really unsure of what the future holds. So sometimes people are putting their feet in the ground a little bit harder. But then it's interesting, like you see some people that have like very long tenure in certain places, and they're kind of ready for something different too. So you have like three different markets, I'd say. You have like people that are like a little bit too scared to make the hop, and that's totally fair because we don't ever know what's going to happen in the future. And then you have like the middle people who have been placed for a really long time, and they're kind of ready for the next step. So they're just dancing a little bit for sure. We're seeing a lot of that out west, to be honest.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because we do primarily work in Western Canada and then like locally here. And then you have obviously a lot of the senior talent who are now coming into retirement. And we're finding like that there's a big empty space in terms of the people with the amount of tenure that you need to fill those positions too.
Oh, God.
So that people don't have the length of experience that they need to refill those positions.
Yeah. So there's
That's
three different ways for us right now that are directly impacting our business specifically. So I can't speak to all agencies, but that's definitely like trends that I'm seeing.
These are the pretty much macro trends.
Yeah.
I think that's
And
that's
then,
interesting.
yeah. And then I think on the client side too, people are less likely to pull the trigger as quick as they used to. So I'm finding a
When you
lot
say
of
client, you mean businesses?
like the
employees?
businesses, yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah, okay.
employers. So on the client side of things, I feel like I mostly see a trend of hiring between like a 6 to 10 week period often. And then when you get that far into an interview process, it's really hard to make sure that the candidates that you were interviewing or actively like pursuing are still on the market.
Gotcha.
So that could be something that we come up against as well.
Why do you think where do you think there's such a delay? I mean, if a company is looking for a specific role, why would there be such a delay? Pardon my ignorance. I'm just trying to think. If I'm a business owner and I reach out to you and I'm looking for this candidate, why would the process be so long?
I think just there's a lot of hesitancy as well, sometimes
Okay.
on the client
Even
side
to
of
hire.
things. Yeah, or just just in terms of the structure of the hiring and the business itself. And again, it's not always the case. I just feel like it's a trend that I'm seeing. Most of the time, the interview process, for the most part, from hiring us to us interviewing the client to placement to start, is typically anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks, I would say, for sure. And it also just depends too in terms of how long the candidate's been at the place that they've been working, how much notice they have to give. And I feel like there's a lot of integrity there in that part of the process where candidates are honoring, like if they need to give a 4-week period, they're actually going to go and follow through with that 4-week period. So, it's undeterminable right this
People
second.
actually care about, even though they might be willing to dip their toe into something new, they're still worried about their other foot that's still stuck in their business.
And for all the right reasons.
For sure.
And I tell anyone that I've spoken to, I just make sure to remind them, like, our conversations are confidential.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy to just have a conversation with you. Just listen to what's out there. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And like, I promise
You
you're
don't, yeah.
like, I can say your employer is not going to know from us, like that's not what we do, because I always tell my candidates, like, to Kerry and PlacePad, like, candidates' confidentiality is just as important as the client's confidentiality. We represent you as a candidate just as much as we represent the client.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense. And what do you see as the future of recruitment? I mean, obviously AI is taking a role. AI cannot take over 100%. It's a tool for the most part. And I mean, anyways, that's what I think. That's what we think.
Cool. That's what we think.
That's what we think.
Yeah.
But what do you see? Because I mean, obviously, there's no denying this tool.
For sure.
And like, where do you see recruitment going? I mean, from your experience, sometimes it's tough to pinpoint where that is, because I get the question all the time: where do you see business going? And sometimes I'm like, it could go there or there, but
I like. For me, I think human partnership interaction is going to be just as important as ever. I think, and I don't want to like talk poorly of it. I just feel like people are lacking the human interaction piece still. And I think we're all coming around through the necessity to be with one another.
People got too comfortable
It's just
being on screen.
Yeah, for sure. I think that there's a little bit of a shift for sure that, people, even when it comes to client meetings and stuff like that, the Teams days are over.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, like we get to go to a real meeting, and I was like, I get to come to like a meeting. She's like, we're going to go to their office. Like,
and I think for me, it was like
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I think it's the most important part for me is face-to-face time. It's the foundation of my business.
That's what she mentioned to me about, like, when she switched over and she was in like a director position, like she really missed that interpersonal connection that she has with candidates and clients. And like,
for sure,
even if you're running a business, it's your business. She still wants to be the one talking to the person that's applying for an assistant position. It doesn't matter to her.
We're very much aligned, because even for like, we're looking for other other guests to come on the podcast, and I'm refusing to do it virtually.
Yeah,
it has to be face to face.
Yeah, it's not a conversation.
Not just to get a sense of what that is. I don't know if this is just I much prefer doing this. So
of course.
So
I feel like
I get it.
Obviously distance, like, for us working out west and in Eastern Canada as well, that's obviously a block in the system, but the amount of engagement that we have, at least face to face on screen, is also important as well too. So
you travel to your clients too.
For sure.
It's okay for touch points.
Touch points, for sure.
But
she'll fly out places.
Yeah.
She'll go places. Like she's like, I might go to Kingston to meet up with a client if you want to come.
Oh, wow.
Like I was like, oh my gosh, yay! Like to me, I'm like a big girl job. But I'm like, oh, that's it's real life.
It's like, what? We're not doing this on the screen.
Not stuck online anymore, sitting in my basement.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
It
Now
feels
listen.
nice.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah,
I feel like us old people.
Yeah.
I'm one of y'all now. It's perfect.
But I think, like the future is people partnership and interaction. For me, anyways, for us.
But I think you're not the only one to say that, because as much as technology, I think that technology plays a role. Don't get me wrong.
100%.
It should make life easier, faster, quicker, more efficient, but you can never take away the human aspect. And when you do, then you've lost everything. Like,
what happens when it breaks?
Yeah.
Or goes down for the
and
day.
people don't know how to do anything.
Like I have to know how to source using AI, but also I know how to do all the things that AI is doing for me, that if it showed up one day and it just wasn't working, I could still go through and source for my people.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and that's, I think, what people really need to understand is like, just because AI is there, it doesn't mean that you should know that knowledge.
Exactly.
Or that it's not important to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
It's even more important because you want to make sure that the information that you're getting given to is the right information.
Right.
Yeah.
And making sure, because it's pulling information doesn't mean that it's correct. So making sure that you're educated enough on that too.
Good for you. Yeah, that's good, eh?
I know, love her.
That's awesome. Good for you. I'm happy for you. I think that's great. No, but it's good because
Yeah.
you understand.
Yeah.
Because that, it's a tool, but
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of young people don't see it as a tool. They see it as a way of life.
they think that this is going to run everything.
And to me, like
What do you mean I have to drive?
No,
Yeah.
Huh? What?
exactly.
What do you mean I have to walk?
Yeah.
I can't take my
Or
scooter.
just like I went through like graduating university last year and like watching people in my fourth year writing, like I was writing 50-page law papers and having people in my class get AI to write it and still graduating.
That's sad.
And like just that to me is like a very, I think it goes into the perspective of like the ethics of it and how much like as a person, how much you care about what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
Because it's really that's what matters.
That's
It's
sad.
like
It's a
you
bit
have to
sad.
be ethically, like you have to have morals as a person to know what you're doing is correct and
Yeah.
just continue that way. And I feel like that's also an important thing in recruiting is like, as I said, like I use it for making sure my sources are diverse.
Yeah.
You could use it to completely exclude and be completely discriminatory
Yeah.
as well. You
Yeah.
know, so it's making sure you're using it in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
So Kerry and Taylor, thank you for giving us,
Thank you so
joining us
much.
today. This is a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Very much.
And learning more about PlacePad and obviously your approach, your human approach,
Yeah.
your personal approach, your relationship type approach
Yeah.
to doing this. So obviously, I think people listening to this didn't get that. I think they didn't listen properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, it's the foundation of my business. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if people want to reach out to you, like, what's the best way to reach out to PlacePad? Is it through LinkedIn? Is it
Our LinkedIn is up and running and monitored for sure.
nice?
Padding
Place padding.
PlacePad on LinkedIn, yeah.
on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And anyone can call my phone number too.
Yeah.
Or send me an email.
Nah, that's great.
Reach
That's
me
great.
too.
Taylor S at placepad.ca.
Oh, there you go.
Placepad.ca.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, obviously, for all the listeners, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode. I'm Dan Dore, and we'll see you on the next DORE Podcast.